Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. Today we are going to learn from third canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 24th chapter, titled as Renunciation of Kardama Muni. Text number 42. Kardama Muni is a great sage, great devotee of Lord, and after raising his family, after looking after his wife, his children, getting his daughter married, Kardama Muni wanted to take the fourth order of the life, which is sannyas ashram, renunciation. And before taking sannyas, Kardama Muni spent some time with his son, Kapiladev, who is incarnation of Bhagavan Vishnu. Kapiladev assured Kardama Muni that he will take care of his mother, who is wife of Kardama Muni. Her name is Devahuti. And Kapiladev also mentioned to Kardama Muni that he will give her the science of Bhakti Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, by which she can get detached from the material attachments and progress on the path of bhakti. Hearing this, Kardama Muni was pacified and he circumambulated around Kapiladev and left for the forest. Now in the forest, Kardama Muni took serious vows, and the mention of those vows is here. How did Kardama Muni spend his life in sannyas? So in this shloka, Vedvyasji is describing about the renounced life of Kardama Muni. Let's read the shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Rabhavati Naishtaki. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. So the further description of Kardama Muni's life is here. Maitreya Rishi is saying to Vidurji, Vratam ta sthito maunam atmaika sharano muni niḥsaṅgaḥ vyacharat kshonim aniketanaḥ. So here the life of Kardama Muni, Vratam, severe vows of Kardama Muni are mentioned, and how one can live his life in austerity. Vratam sa asthito maunam, asthita, accepted. What did he accept? Maunam. Maunam means silence. Mauna vrata, not to talk unnecessarily. Atma eka sharanamuni. Atma eka sharanamuni. So he took the exclusive surrender of Supreme Personality of Godhead. niḥsaṅgaḥ vyacharat kshonim. He gave up the worldly association and he traveled all over from one place to another. And aniketanaḥ. Anagniḥ, he gave up the fire and he gave up the aniketanaḥ. He gave up the housing, shelter. He just was roaming around for austerity. So when we roam around, you take complete shelter. You have no shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. You have nobody else but Krishna to save. So one does not cook anything for himself. He depends on the whatever the alms he get in donation, bhiksha. So that's why he gave up anagniḥ. Never cooked for himself. Whatever he get in the mercy, in the bhiksha, he will take it. So sage Kardama Muni accepted the silence as a vow in order to think of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he took a silence so his mind doesn't get distracted. And you take complete shelter exclusively upon Krishna. Rakhe Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rakhe Ke. Whatever Krishna wants, I will do it. That's a complete surrender. Without association, without worldly association, Kardama Muni traveled over the surface of the globe. That is the Parivijaka Acharya, traveling all over to spread the message of Krishna consciousness as a sannyāsī and devoid of any relationship, fire or shelter, which means he did not cook anything for himself, he did not do any ritualistic fire sacrifices, he just surrendered completely to Krishna. No housing, he didn't have any fixed house. It is said that a sannyasi doesn't stay more than 3 days in one place. So those are the vows of sannyas. This is a life of simplicity and silence. These are the two main vows, simplicity and silence. This is what Kardama Muni took. So in purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining. Here the word anagniḥ, aniketanaḥ are very significant. A sannyasi should be completely detached from fire and any residential quarters. If you really want to take sannyas, renounced order of life, then one has to detach oneself from fire, means using the fire usually in the grihastha ashram, people use the fire either for cooking or for offering sacrifices. But a sannyasi doesn't cook for himself. He just takes the alms, and also he will not have any fire sacrifice for ritualistic ceremonies. He does not have to cook or offer the fire sacrifice because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, preaching activities. Therefore, he has already accomplished all ritualistic performance of sacrifice. Aniketanaḥ means without lodging. He should not have his own house, but should depend completely on the shelter of the Lord for his food and lodging, and he should travel. Mauna means silence. Unless one becomes silent, he cannot think completely of pastimes and activities of the Lord. One has to be completely silent, which means that not to talk nonsense. Silence doesn't mean keep quiet all the time, but talk only about Krishna. So it is Prabhupada is giving a reference of Chanakya. One is fool and cannot speak nicely, therefore takes the vow of Mauna. Rather one becomes silent so that people will not disturb him. It is by Chanakya Pandit that rascal appears very intelligent as long as he does not speak. But speaking is the test. So-called silence of silent impersonality, Swami indicates that he has nothing to say. He simply wants to be back. But the silence adopted by Kardama Muni was not like that. He became silent for the relief of nonsensical talk. One is called Muni when he remains grave and does not talk nonsense. So Kardama Muni, when you say Muni, Muni means silence, but silence doesn't mean keep the quiet all the time. Speak only if there is a chance to speak about Krishna, otherwise don't speak. Maharaj Amrish set a very good example in this case. Whenever he spoke about pastimes of Lord. Mauna necessitates refrain from nonsensical talking and engaging the talking facility in the pastimes of Lord. In that way, one can chant and hear about Lord in order to perfect his life. Vratam means that one should take a vow as explained in Bhagavad Gita. Amanitvam, adhambhitvam, without hankering for personal respect and without being proud of one's material possession. So this is very important. One should be very humble. Amanina manadena. So not expecting any honor, prestige, power, nothing like that. Ahimsa means not being violent. There are 18 processes for attaining knowledge and perfection. And by his vow, Kardama Muni adopted all the principles of self-realization. So here, some of the very important aspects of simple living, high thinking are mentioned from the Kardama Muni's life. He took the vow of silence and simplicity. Silence means that focus completely on Krishna consciousness, and we can increase our focus when we do not get involved in unnecessary chatting, unnecessary talking. Otherwise, we get distracted, right? So we have to have mindful communication. Kardamuni is a great example here. So in the modern age, we are communicating unnecessarily, and hence we have to avoid unnecessary talk. And this can be, the mindful communication can be as simple as digital detox, uh, like get away from the digital media for some time, or dedicating a time for spiritual practice like chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And when we talk, the communication should include Krishna consciousness. It should include something which inspire others, which should focus on the sharing the wisdom rather than ideal gossiping. And Kardamuni's example also is Kardamuni's detachment. He's getting away from the house, living a life without any proper shelter, and independence from everything dependent on Krishna actually. Uh, so this is a life of simplification, simple living. What we can learn from here is that going for the minimalism, focus on simple possessions and reduce the material possessions, and slowly and steadily develop the detachment from the material things, because material things are temporary, right? So we have to practice the spirituality by adopting the spiritual way of living. Integrating the spiritual practices in our daily life is very, very important, and that we can learn from the example here, that how Kardama Muni, after looking after the family, completing his responsibilities, taking the vow now that I will spend remainder of the time for the Krishna consciousness. So slowly and steadily, we have to integrate the spiritual practice like chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in our daily practice. And then at a certain age of time, life, then we have to give up all the material attachments and focus completely. Kardama Muni traveled all over the world for spreading Krishna consciousness. So if we decide to travel, it should be the pilgrimage. The travel should be for connecting with Krishna. And taking vows. Kardama Muni took a vow of mauna vrata, detachment from the material things, gave up the fire, became very humble, which means that we have to have some sort of a vow that okay, I will chant 16 rounds at least every day. That should be the vow. Hmm. So we can see that Kardama Muni, even the great sage, sannyāsī, but following the strict rules and regulations, not dependent on anybody else, but exclusively on Krishna. So that is the message here, that make our life simple, powerful, with Krishna consciousness, not with the material possessions. Right? So we'll pause here. We'll continue our study of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam tomorrow. Renounced Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Prema.